Meeting of the Mitchell County Board of Supervisors. We have an agenda in front of us. Do we have any additions, corrections, deletions?
I don't have any. I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
I will second. It's been moved and second. Further discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Morning, County Attorney Walk. You're up.
General discussions. The only thing I have is that Kevin Knievel applied for unemployment compensation. He was awarded unemployment benefits of the first round, and so, which they generally do. And so we just appealed that, so that'll go in front of an administrative law judge sometime within the next couple of months, I suppose. And Greg and I have met about that already and talked about it, so.
Along those lines, at the very bottom of the minutes, have you looked at that to make sure that that's what we want to say?
Yep, that's fine.
Okay, then when it comes time for the minutes, we will at least know that part of it.
Yeah, and there were some questions yesterday why he had the hearing in front of the Board of Supervisors. It was, terminated by the Sheriff's Department, because the law says you get a name-clearing hearing in front of the board. And you can't look in the code section and find it, but there's Iowa Supreme Court decisions that say, under the 14th Amendment, you're entitled to due process. And government can't take any action to get somebody without giving them due process. Well, they said, the name-clearing hearing is simply a chance, because usually if somebody gets fired, it's because, there's rumors going around town. He was stealing, he was having an affair, he was cheating, This is their chance to tell their side of the story so the public can hear their side rather than just the county side. It's not an opportunity for them to get their job back, but boy, if you don't give it to them, you're in trouble. So that's why you give it to them. Now, they may sue you and the jury may say, hey, no damages, because the county never said anything bad about you in the first place. So, but you absolutely have to give somebody a name-clearing hearing when they're terminated from a government position. In certain situations, you have to give them that hearing before you can even terminate them. But this didn't apply in that situation. That's all I have.
Well, the other thing that I probably have is, and I know we've had an email or two on it, roof leaking here at the plaza. I would like to ask both Lowell and Dave if we ever have a leak again, that we send Kevin an email explaining that we have this issue where it's leaking, so on and so forth, because I do think we can have some serious liability issues if somebody does slip and.
Right.
And.
But they need to be contacted first before anybody else and say, hey, we got this leak, it needs to be fixed.
But I mean, we've had it here this spring, this summer. I mean, it's been an ongoing issue.
Have they tried to fix it? Or?
Yes, they have.
Oh, okay.
They've tried to fix it, but still.
This was in a new spot.
Was or was not?
Was in a new spot.
So,
Yeah,
But I mean,
the other
but
spots weren't leaking.
yeah.
last
But it
week
seems
when
like
it
every
rained.
time it rains, we have the buckets out there and
A new
that
spot,
is getting
yeah.
to be old crap, so.
Yeah.
Right. But just to protect ourselves.
Yeah, right away, as soon as there's a leak, you get a hold of them.
It doesn't have to say anything more than we have another leak.
We got a leak, approximately, here's
Date.
where
But
it
we
is.
want to document it and have a file that we documented it
Yeah.
and so on, and,
Yep.
because otherwise they're gonna try to go for the deep pockets if there's an issue.
Yep.
And then if we have a file, we can go for the farm.
Yep.
That was all I have. Do you have?
No, I've been busy with other things, so I don't have anything.
Okay.
No.
Okay, well, thank you.
All right.
Tom, do you have?
I'm just gonna listen.
Sure.
Osage wastewater plant, they mobilized, we got a big hole dug in the ground, they're moving forward on that, no problem. I spoke with Henkel, they've got all their trailers and stuff set up over at the Valent site. They made an arrangement with Valent, they've got all their trailers on private property now, and that's the arrangement between Valent and Henkel. So just so you guys, if you ever drive by there and see Henkel's trailers, well, that's not on a property, they've got that agreement in place with Valent, to do that, okay? So just so you're aware of that. They're gonna start, we're staking that, this week, they're gonna start digging holes at the end of this week, beginning next week, and they'll be going full bore after that.
Any idea when they'll start billing us?
I don't. I would assume that for the wastewater plant, in the next couple weeks, we'll get another invoice from them guys. And Henkel, probably 2-3 weeks at the earliest. How's you guys sitting on your funding?
Well, we plan to do some funding, but it's not gonna be for probably the fall.
Okay,
We've had the hearing.
okay. Where are you sitting right now for available balance? You okay for a little bit, or is this something we need to get it together with Brenda or Kathy and kind of make sure we get things squared away? They've had a schedule of mine, and in all honesty, our draw schedule, I think we're about 30 days behind on that. So
Okay.
originally they said you looked okay. Now we're about 30 days behind, so I'd like to think you're okay, but hey, I don't want
Didn't Bart say we had 2 or 3 million sitting there?
I forget exactly what it was.
Well, if that's the case, you'll be all right.
Right, I mean, I'm thinking,
You say
Nothing
fall,
major.
well, what are you talking about?
Probably October.
August, yeah, I think you can do
It's
it.
only 6 weeks, but I mean, so, if we have $2 million and
Yeah. You're not gonna get that much draw out of these guys to start with the next 2 pay requests. So you'll be all right. You'll be fine. Other than that, so far, no issues with equipment, deliveries, middles, anything like that. We're on schedule with that stuff. Everything's looking good so far. So that's all I got at the moment. Next time I come, I'll probably do is I'll get some handouts to you guys, just some pictures and stuff, just so you can kind of get some general idea in case you can't get out there. Our inspector's out there every day taking a bunch of pictures, so I'll pick the good ones and give you a sheet or two.
I have to stop out someday.
You're welcome.
just wear our hard hat and our green t-shirt.
Yeah, don't make my guy kick out the site. Safety's
Got
part
a
of the
green
deal.
t-shirt?
No,
Can you get us one with it says Yagi Kobe
I don't think I can do
supervisors?
that. I'd like to, but I don't think I can do that. You have to ask Mark.
Unless it's
Well, we just want a
$2.99.
We just want a $2 shirt, we're
Even if
not-
it's got logos on it, you okay with that?
Oh, yeah.
We don't care, do we?
Oh, well, yeah, our shirts are 99 cents, I'm not worried about it.
Oh, there we go.
So, alright. That's all I got then.
Well, get some shirts with pockets.
I'll pay the extra dollar.
I'll pay the extra dollar.
They'll be bright orange then, alright.
Okay.
That's it, we'll see you guys then next week,
Okay.
and like I said, I'll start bringing some photos for you guys to take a peek at, and we'll go from there. Alright, have a great night,
Yeah, thanks,
see you.
Alan.
Since Sheriff Beaver's here, do you have anything, Sheriff Beaver, for?
No, just holding 7 this morning. 4 were brought in on drug charges. Some prior investigations, those complaints just came forward with warrants, so we're holding 7. Getting most of the radio stuff's installed, just some minor details now. Telephone issues getting resolved. Barb called me yesterday and, unbeknownst to Pam, she was paying the reserve deputies out of my salary. And so it showed that we had used like 19% of my salary already, and that was kind of difficult to do. So anyway, they got Pam squared away on that. So if you look at the budget, you see that that's the reason for that high percentage at this point of the year. But that's been taken care of. Other than that,
I'm glad to see you look at that.
well, I do. And I lose sleep over it, you know?
Do you?
Yeah, so, anyway.
What do you think of this whole thing on the federal level where they're changing now their drug thing, how they want to approach? And I thought it was rather interesting watching, I forget who it was last night on the tube. I mean, that basically, in the federal system, a small amount of marijuana gets you the same result as heroin and so on and so forth, 5 years. And now what, they're basically saying if they don't have an amount there or somehow, I forget exactly how that worked, then mandatory sentencing doesn't
Yeah, they
necessarily.
want to change their sentencing guidelines and,
But same thing for here, I mean, do you really see for us that marijuana is a significant issue, or, I mean,
It's
should
a
we be
problem.
worrying about that as much as some of these other things? I mean,
Mhm.
because we can fill our system up too, I think, fairly rapidly with these people, and are they really the problem that?
Right,
I
it's
guess that's
trending.
where,
This drug business is trending now, funding anyway, more towards treatment than prevention. It's been that way now for several years, and the monies that we receive on our task force are drying up because they're being redirected towards treatment. Probably the biggest problems we deal with are marijuana and now prescription drugs, right out of your home. We have a lot of that going on, people possessing prescription drugs under the influence of prescription drugs that are not being prescribed by their doctors, and they get behind the wheel and then go from there. So it's a problem, right along with methamphetamine. Yeah. So I don't know, there's people in higher grade levels than mine making those decisions, whether I agree with them or not. There's gonna be some type of summit or meeting in the state of Iowa about legalizing marijuana, and I sure hope that doesn't happen. I guess my position on that would be, if you wanna prescribe marijuana, then do it in a hospital setting, under a doctor's care. And then when the doctor says that you no longer need it, they can discharge you from the hospital. But you just cover too many crashes and been to too many houses where those drugs have impacted the kids and mom or dad or single family. And it's gonna take a lot of convincing. I don't think you could ever convince me that it's okay, that a little bit of marijuana in your home is fine. My kid might come to your house and play and he's affected by that, and I don't want that. Just my personal opinions.
You mean the second-hand smoke?
Yeah, or maybe the little boy discovers it, or little girl finds it, and ingests it somehow. There's things like that that we think of.
I don't know. I go back to prohibition, we thought, stamping out alcohol was gonna be cure-all for all of our ills in this country, and it turned around and, it wasn't. But you have the same situation with the drugs, What do other countries do? I heard England, they legalized them all. Have all you want. Problem will take care of itself.
People can move to England.
Well, no, I'm not saying that, but,
But I see there's an argument on that side of it too.
you criminalize something, well,
Mhm.
so now you got people who can make money off of it, more so than, normally, but if you legalized it, taxed it, make money off of it. I don't know anybody that smokes that crap anyway. The only reason they do it is because it's illegal.
Well, I don't know that that's the only reason, but
Well,
could be
why
part of it.
else would you? I mean,
Feel good.
Yeah.
well, tell us about it a little.
That's Bill Clinton.
Oh, okay. Well, no, I mean, you could argue that
Probably
two
Barack
ways.
Obama, too.
Yeah, sure.
I don't believe, like the really hard stuff, but I know a person who went to the hospital, he had varicose veins surgery. Well, they only do it, they had to go about 4 times. Each time he had the surgery, they hand him a sack of oxycodone.
Yeah.
That,
Yeah, it's
and
painkiller.
yep, painkiller, and a prescription for the stuff.
Mhm.
Take this if you need it.
I know it.
So here he goes, and then 3 weeks later, it's the same scenario.
Yeah.
So now you got 4 things of this. Now, you could easily probably go down on the street corner and get $50 a piece for them.
Yeah.
I don't know what it
You can-
is.
You can sell them. There's a
Right.
market for it.
But see, don't you see, this whole thing just it's pretty loose out there. Especially even with the medical profession. They hand out
Exactly.
prescriptions like, well, you go
You'll
into
have
your doctor,
patients
you
that go to
tell him you
several
want
doctors.
something, he'll give it to you.
Yeah, that's right. And they'll go to several doctors and get the same prescription.
Oh, I've seen that too.
Yeah.
But-
And so why do people have to do that? Why do they need to have some mood-altering drug to get through the day? What are they missing in their life? I never needed that. You guys never needed that,
No.
Something's going on. I don't know. It's a tough
Maybe
call.
they need a job,
Some of them do.
a real one.
Some of them do. I'll tell you that right now. But
I don't know.
there's no easy answers to
No, there
that.
isn't. But I know what they're saying on the federal level. I mean, some of these people are nonviolent, messed up.
Mhm.
Do they need to be incarcerated for 5 years at our expense? I don't think so. You know, I mean,
I guess that's
there
my
needs to be
question, is there ways to treat these people without necessarily being in your facility? You know, because that's expensive to operate.
Mhm.
And when they were explaining in the federal level, that's the number one, by far, the biggest crime is drug-related.
Right.
And they said it costs $80 billion a year to house the federal prisoners
Yeah.
just because of the drugs. And so, I mean, I
Well,
guess
I
that's
think
really
that-
my question, more so to you. Can you see that we could do something maybe a little differently? I don't know, house arrest? I realize it.
Those are those are the answers they're looking for. Treatment's very important. And right now, the stats that I see is that 90% or more of people that go to treatment are court ordered there, so first they have contact with us. They don't voluntarily go. And so if you could switch that around where they say, yeah, I will go to treatment, keep me out of the jail, that would be an okay thing. Treatment's good. We gotta have it.
Well, and if it's voluntary, even though it isn't really quite voluntary, like you say, I mean, they're gonna have a better chance of completing it successfully than if it's just, by God, you're gonna go, and,
Right.
and I don't want, you know, like you say, if you give them that choice, you get 30 days here, or you get 3 hours, or what, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, you'll never hear me say treatment is not a good option, because it is. I'd rather they go to treatment than for us to have to, have contact with them. Much rather have that. The other issue that's gonna come crashing down on us is mental health. We hold so many people in our facility with mental health issues, and they shouldn't be there.
just because they chased them out of Independence and Cherokee and all.
We
those
can't get them put into
No,
to
there's
a
no
hospital
beds.
setting. I took a gal to our hospital, and they told me she wasn't fit to go to 5E. That is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. That's what's gonna cause us problems, is the mental health side of things.
What about the crisis center down in Blackhawk?
Well, by code, yeah, if they go voluntarily, but by code, I have
Oh,
to take them
these
to a
people.
hospital,
Okay.
be evaluated by a doctor. And when the doctor says no, he or she isn't fit, after I've seen them act unsafe towards themselves and others, and they send them home, that's a bad situation.
They're doing that over here? But I thought Bob was working on that with Mercy to.
We have to take them to the nearest facility, so we bring
Right,
them to
but they have to be
Osage.
evaluated.
Yes.
Okay, but I
Yes.
think Lou down there can do the evaluations now.
And
Might wanna
she's,
call Bob Lincoln and talk to him a little bit about it and tell him,
that's the thing, this mental health
right,
issue, there's a lot of that.
and they will come and pick them up and take them down there. You may just have to.
I may see Bob tomorrow at our training
There you go.
at the CRC, and you guys are all invited to that missing and exploited children
Okay.
training.
But I know it's working well for Blackhawk, and the Covenant and those hospitals down there are liking it real well, because these people are not really, they don't really need to be in that
Right.
$700 a day bed, but if they can go out to the center out there, that crisis intervention center, get
That'd
their
be,
meds, get hooked up with their case manager,
that'd be a good option.
But all their support is down there, and up here, we're a long ways from that.
but they will come and pick them up.
I know. They are, I think
But
the mental
it's a
health
whole
center's
lot
trying to
cheaper.
get funding for like a mobile mental health team that would go out, so they'd have somebody to call that could come out. That's why, I don't know if it'll get funded, but I know in my experience with it in Milwaukee is it worked really well to have a mobile mental health team that could come right to the house, or wherever that was, the person was having a crisis, and do an assessment right there, and then get them to the appropriate place, because it's hard for the police on, like you said, you take them to the emergency room, and if the emergency room isn't staffed with someone that knows how to deal with the mental health issues, you don't always get the right help.
Might be a good question to pose to our trustees, the hospital.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't
there's
think
a
they don't do that type of assessment up here, do
Y-
they?
y-
Or can they?
They have medical doctors doing mental health assessments,
The medical doctors?
essentially, yeah. And for the most part, you know, they're spot on, but on occasion, they maybe have a physician's assistant or somebody new in and, just doesn't work out.
It's a
the
big
way-
problem.
Yeah, it is, it's a struggle.
I mean, you know, when you read that 69% of the people that are incarcerated in our jails and prisons are mental health people.
Yeah,
They all have problems.
Yeah, we've had several. They don't belong in there, but
But there's no place else for them. Gotta keep them away from society so that they don't hurt
Mhm.
themselves or somebody else or do other damage, but
so I don't know, Stan, if I answered your question or not,
it's deep.
but that's my answer.
No, I just,
There is no easy answer.
no, I realize that, but I mean, I guess if we're looking at different options, I mean, like I say, it just kind of was brought up because the federals are, and, you know, that's one of the bigger expenses that we have here that's a variable, is operating the jail portion of your budget, you know what I'm saying? Because of, if, you know, we definitely don't want that exploding.
Well, as of today, it's still illegal, and, you
Yeah.
know, we are in contact with these people, and they're
I
in
guess
possession
is
of
this
drugs, they get charged.
Is this a conversation that you have had or are wanting to have, or will have with, like, the county attorney? You know, like I say, if you find people, I mean, marijuana, I have no pros or cons about it one way or the other, but I mean, you know, first time whatever, is that really something that we ought to be throwing the book at them,
And,
or, you know what I mean?
yeah, the people that we have contact with on our marijuana cases are typically overnight holds. They get arrested on Friday night, they're held to see a magistrate judge the next morning. And then at sentencing, you know, if they're found guilty, typically it's a fine and they're on their way. First and second offenses, we're not getting judgment and sentences for 7 days on first offense marijuana. We're not
Okay.
holding people on those charges. It's an overnight hold or initial appearance from the magistrate, and then as it moves through district court and they're found guilty or plead guilty, then it's by code, you know, they can get 2 days and a fine, but typically the county attorney's office asks for minimums, and it's a fine and they're on their way.
Okay. I'm just curious.
Yeah, you bet. I don't have anything more unless anybody has questions for me.
Oh, I don't. Good
Yeah.
discussion anyway.
Yeah.
Mayor Bublitz, I see you're here this morning.
Well, I'd called you the other day, you know, about helping with advertising and that for the city of Carter for the barbecue bash and that. I was just wondering if there was anything available yet or not.
Yeah, if you mean as far as contribution?
Yeah,
Yeah, just send us a letter, and we've been doing $500 for each event. Just, all you have to do is request it.
not to be presumptive, but I did already.
Good.
Good work. I just figured I'd save myself.
There you go. That's all it takes.
We probably can't act on this today because it's not on the agenda, but
Put it on for next week.
put it on for next week, and you probably can, I won't guarantee it, but you probably can be assured that it would be.
Whatever, it's
Yeah.
no.
Usually if we do it for one, we do it for them all. All they have to do is request.
Well, and I really still feel that these community events are a good thing. It, I mean, brings people together. Quite often, your community has to work for weeks, if not months, to organize and to pull something like this off. And it, like I say, we really have some pretty good senses of community because of, I think, some of these events. So no, I'm happy to be able to see that.
We appreciate it.
Well, there's always good food up there at the bash and that, and so. The only thing, if you happen to see, I know I've been up there a couple of different times other years, with this ATV thing, there's a few of these people that wanna ride, especially east of Carpenter, ride up and down the ditch, you know. That is illegal. They're only allowed to ride on the road, not in the ditches, and so, the last thing I wanna do is have us lose our privilege over, something like that. So if you happen to see them riding in the ditch, if you can,
And we'll bring it up at the meetings to make everybody aware of that too.
because yeah, we just as soon have everybody safe and that, we haven't had any problems yet with that, and so hoping that we don't.
Yeah, we've been fortunate down there, we haven't had too much trouble with them going wild in town or anything.
Well, I don't think they will. I mean, you know, if we approach it properly, I think people have a little common sense. Okay, approve the minutes.
I read through them. I'd make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second. It's been moved and second, further discussion. Hearing none, vote Plander.
Aye.
Walk, aye, motion carried. Engineer Brum, you're up.
Morning.
How are you today, sir?
Beat.
Beat. Who beat you?
Well, FEMA's gonna beat us is what they're gonna do. First of all, I've got the contract, we awarded the contract last meeting, I believe it was, or the prior one, for the Hickory Bridge. They signed them, they sent them back, so I'm gonna need the chair to sign the contract. Since it's awarded, I don't think we need to have it
No, we've already
approved, it's already been
approved
approved, so.
On this page, where
I'm
is this?
sorry. You're the contract.
Okay. That's what I thought, but I wanted to make double sure. I'll let you fill in the contract award date.
That's fine, we'll just put it on the last day before we award the contract, the meeting here. We'll get that sent off to the DOT then, today, hopefully, and
Probably was the 30th of July, I think. Was it last week?
it wasn't, no. Thank you. We had a kickoff meeting with FEMA last Thursday. My first experience with FEMA is not gonna be fun. I intended to have my goal was to get these bridges opened up. Well, we had one collapse, right? One of the closed bridges collapsed after the rain I think we had. It's gone. I mean, it's in the water. So anyway, that's one that was closed, nobody got hurt. It's been barricaded since the flood, or since we realized that it needed to be closed. But what FEMA's requiring us to do is get DNR and Army Corps approvals for anything we do in any waterway. Whether we need a permit or don't need a permit, they want us to contact the DNR and Army Corps. And I'm only telling you this because it's gonna take more time than I wanted to spend to get these bridges open. Because you send the joint applications in, they say allow 60 to 90 days. And so, we're working on the one right now south of Hickory, or on the Hickory Avenue, where the pipe washed out and we're putting the same pipe back into the water. we're bringing it back in, putting it in. We were, you know, emergency work, we're not gonna contact the DNR and Army Corps, but I think if they want us to, if we wanna be reimbursed for it, we need to, it's gonna be one of those, on that one, at least it's gonna be ask for forgiveness and for permission. I know we ran into that one other time by accident, but,
We're still under emergency declaration.
well, it's not that so much as the time. I'm gonna, when I send the joint applications in, I know we don't, all of our drainage areas that we're working on are under 100 square miles, which you don't need a floodplain permit for those. But the Army Corps still wants to be notified, because most of what we're gonna do is gonna be under the general nationwide 404 permit. But they still need to be notified. So I'm working, I came in on Sunday a little bit and worked on the permits to try to get them out. I've got a couple other ones to do yet, we'll send them out and keep the ball rolling at least, but I can't guarantee now when these bridges are gonna be open. And I'm kind of upset about that, because I wanted them open before harvest, and it might not happen. I got a meeting with FEMA at 10 o'clock today in Osage, because Worth County and Howard County got declared, and Osage was halfway from both counties to meet. So there's a few hours with FEMA. Thursday, FEMA's coming back to Mitchell County, so there's another day shot with FEMA. So I'm just gonna give you a heads up, there's not gonna be a lot done other than FEMA stuff for the next few days, but it's gonna take a lot of time.
Well, there's 168 hours in the week, what's the problem?
160 hours a week, and yep, you're right, what's the problem?
So with in these meetings, what you're
I
dealing
think now, right now, what we're dealing with, we had the kickoff meeting, and they were giving us all the requirements of what we need to do to document and everything else, which we've got a good head start on it. The next step is to set up sites, project sites. And we were scared that it was gonna be every location that had a washout was a site. And I said, you really wanna do that? You're talking hundreds. Well, how much damage did you have? And then I showed them a map, and I said, well, maybe we need to figure out a different way to classify sites. So I think what we're gonna be doing is setting up sites based on the road, street. Like 450th Street from county line to county line will be one site, which will make it a lot easier to document, because all the rock we put down, all the work we've done is based on 450th Street, east of here, west of there, next to here, next to there. So it'll be easy to track and easy to put together, so I think they're on board with that, but there's a lot of things that we need to iron out here now, probably Thursday, that we'll be getting some of that work through, so. Just to keep you up to date on what's going on with FEMA. You know, and on the other side of that, we still have federal highway to deal with too, which, I'm not working on FEMA, I'm working on federal highway.
So you're saying they didn't bring the checkbook?
They don't bring the checkbook till the job's done. So we won't see money this year at all.
Alright.
I wouldn't expect it.
So we may have to borrow, I take it, in order to,
I'm working on the annual report right now, so I'll know what my carryover balance was from last year. We may not have to, but I wanna know where that balance is first. Cause I know right now, I'm probably gonna need a budget amendment soon anyway, because we didn't pay for any flood damage last fiscal year. And right now, we've got over $1 million spent out of the budget already. And that's not saying it's all flood related, but a good chunk of it is. And if it's in maintenance, we coded everything separate, but that still means the money's been spent through the secondary roads fund, so. As soon as we get kinda caught up on that stuff, I can run the numbers. I wanna make sure that if we need to do an amendment, I don't know if you guys plan on doing amendments anytime soon for anything, but it may be that I need to do it before.
it's basically done as an as-needed basis. I mean, if you need it done, then Barb will contact everybody else and ask, or explain that we're gonna be doing this amendment coming up,
Right.
and if you want something included, if you think you need something here before maybe March or April, get it in now, and,
Right,
you know.
yep. So, I'm gonna be crunching those numbers to find out where we're at, what we're gonna need yet, so. There's a lot of work to do.
Did you have any luck with with FEMA on finding out if private property can be assisted?
The answer to that is no. The answer is, yes, I found out. The answer is no, they aren't doing individual claims.
Is there a reason? I mean, they just didn't do it? or
I don't
they-
know what the reason is that they didn't do it. I'm surprised. I don't understand why they wouldn't. But
Maybe you can try to ask them that Thursday?
to mine, I'll even ask them today if it's the same
Oh, yeah.
guys coming in, but
Sure.
I don't know. When I asked them, I said, is this declared as individual also? And they said, we don't know, we'll find out. They asked, no, it's not. Why? I guess I don't know that answer.
Yeah.
Why they do and why they don't on some.
If you can find out, because, I mean, at least the public would like to know, and I think that.
Because I've asked too, at certain locations, they won't reimburse us, they want private property and claim anything. So,
Is Will having any luck with his
I
bridge?
haven't talked to him in a while, I haven't talked to him, I know he's working with that Historic Bridge Society thing. And they were working on, do you have information?
Yeah. They are wanting the county to take it back. We had a lengthy press release. I got it too late to put it in this week's paper, but it was a lengthy letter from this bridge association or whatever. I scanned it because I know it's going to put it in this week's paper. I think what's happening is conservation meets August the 20th. Is that when their next meeting is?
Yeah.
They're gonna be requesting county conservation to take it back. And they have some dollar amounts as to how much the cost was, and like I said, I scanned it really fast. I was gonna ask you after the meeting about it. And then if not, if the county says no, it may go to Sunnybury.
I know they were working on that.
Nice at Sunnybury.
Yeah.
I know they were working on that part of it, I didn't.
Yeah. there's
I think the
more-
best thing is what they wanna leave it in place and have conservation.
Mhm. And there's dollar amounts in there about what they're talking about, the condition of it, how much it would cost. There's a few dollars in there, so they had somebody look at it to come up with some dollar amounts that it would cost to do some basic work on it.
Sure.
I think they're asking they're gonna ask conservation, do you have the money to go ahead and do this to keep it where it is? Because it's $100,000 to dismantle it and take it apart and get rid of it or whatever. But they are working with Sunnybury because they have, their pontoon bridge isn't usable anymore or something, so they need to replace it.
DNR doesn't
How big
care
a
for
bridge
the-
is this?
Good,
100
yeah.
170 some feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How big a bridge would it take to go across the sea here? Out there by the park? Is there wondering,
Which part, which part?
Super Bridge Park? Took up the Harry Cook Trail to the Greenbelt Trail, but you have to get across the river.
Like Spring Park.
Yeah.
I didn't bring a copy of it. I assumed you guys would have got a copy of it too, but I didn't put it in the paper because I wanted to see what conservation decided to do on the 20th about it, but yeah, they've got a presentation put together for conservation on the 20th.
It was 6 figures to move that thing.
It was gonna cost a lot more to move it if they had to bring their two real big cranes in, because the two real big cranes have to be dismantled to move them. And because the location, even though I think it's very close to the other bridge, crane-wise,
It's a long reach for
it's a
crane.
long reach, so that's why they'd have to possibly bring their big cranes instead of the smaller cranes, so.
Well, that's interesting.
But-
They hadn't notified me of anything, and I hadn't had time to chase it then.
I may forward you that just
Yeah, that's fine,
because
that's
you may
great.
want to know about it, because like I
Yeah.
said, I didn't print it in the paper this week, because I was just gonna wait and see what the county decided to do to let people know. I probably will put it in next week's paper. But it sounds like I don't know how Sunnybury can pay for that, but they've been working with them to get rid of this pontoon bridge out there at the golf course.
I know they have
So-
another deal going on with another bowstring bridge in Winnebago County we were looking at. Well, Winnebago County's a long haul too, so.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And it's what Winnebago County had was a shorter bridge, and the longer the bridge, the better the span for the golf.
But just scanning it, it seemed like the easiest thing would be the county conservation to take it over, is what they're hoping to do, and have them just pay for whatever repair work that need to be done on it, is what they're trying to do.
No, it'd be interesting to see if there could be any type of valuation on what that bridge would weigh if those plank were off of there. Because chances are good those plank, maybe they're all safe and sound, but you know, they haven't been basically driven on for 30-some years. They would have to hold a lot of weight.
Well, they're all probably creosote soaked and have probably a little asphalt on top of the net on the surface.
But, you know, an engineer could probably give us an estimate of weight if they wanted to really sit.
I bet an engineer can.
So that could be a project for somebody at ISU to.
Well, maybe those bridge people have it all figured, that historic society, maybe they've got it figured out already. I don't know, like I said, I haven't.
But, I mean, that's one of the big questions of how much does it weigh and what's it gonna take to move it.
Mhm.
And right now, I have not seen an answer to that.
Helicopters. One bridge was moved with helicopters, Iowa Air
Yep.
Guard.
That was I don't know if it's Buchanan County, I think, moved one with a helicopter. They turned it into a training session for the Buchanan County engineer was an ex-military fellow who had connections, who thought what a great training exercise for the boys. So, a couple phone calls and a Chinook
So
helicopter later.
How well do you know the Buchanan County?
He's a great guy.
Well, you might have to make a phone call and see what.
He probably wouldn't bother. He probably wouldn't mind helping if it came down to it.
Well, if you have some spare time, I'll just give it a call, see what. I'd be even curious to find out how much weight one of those things.
Yeah, I don't know
can
how
lift.
much a Chinook can lift, but I don't think his bridge was as big as this one.
But again, I mean, if the plank was all off of there,
Mhm.
2 or 3.
How do you fly them side by side?
Very careful.
Very careful. Anyway, we are still running the rock run. Still waiting those. The painters, like I said last week, are coming in mid-September. We're trying to put some spot projects together with some asphalt overlay stuff. I mean, here we are mid-August already, and it doesn't seem like it should be, but we're gonna probably work on getting some temporary surface on the 105 bridge, some temporary surface on Stillwater Road, just to get us through winter, to get all that stuff compacted in, because if we leave it rock through the winter time, the salt and sand's gonna mush it up.
well, we're back in session. Yeah, anything else?
Other than that, I don't have anything unless you guys have something. I mean, like I said, I've been chasing down the request from last week for that information on the flooding, but we're gonna spend a lot of time putting these sites together, so once we get stuff going, then they tell me it's all how you word things.
So where's the bridge that's laying in the river?
450th Street, east of the Charleston Dam place, or their old place there. 450th and Primrose, just east of Primrose on 450th.
Okay, that's on the south side. All right.
So,
Well, speaking of Primrose, I rode down that again the other day. So we got a few more patches in that dang thing.
shouldn't, the same ones that we probably did
Maybe
before.
just redoing them.
Yeah, they probably added more material to them.
What range? It's about 70 degrees.
Well, it's gotta be 80 to 90.
Oh, 80 to 90. Okay.
I did talk to an asphalt person here yesterday about that too, to figure out what it could be. I don't know the answer, he didn't either. It's an anomaly of some sort. We'll keep looking into it as it happens. I wish my idea, I wish I would've thought of it years ago before, well, when I first started. It would've been great to videotape the road before it got paved, to see if there was anything going on before we paved it. Give us an indication of what it could be, but it didn't happen, and it never happened the next time. So. Anyway, that's all I've got.
Okay, I don't think there's, I say I've talked to you about those deer signs.
Yep.
That's,
I don't know where my head was. I was just misinterpreting where you wanted them. We'll get it fixed.
Well, I mean,
Where do you want the deer to cross?
well, right south of St. Ansgar on T26, that first, between the cemetery and to
The Mitchell.
Mitchell corner, I'll bet you there was at least 9, 10, 12 of them clipped last year in that 4 miles, and somehow Richie thought
I went from a mile south of there.
He
to
went from
nine.
number 9 4 miles north, and I went from cemetery 4 miles south. We got ours, but
We'll get it fixed. It's,
but even that first mile, there was 2 or 3 of them clipped.
we're gonna put a
Before you get
placard
to-
on the number 9 one that says next 6 miles, we'll pick the other one up and move it north. So, we'll get to it.
Yeah, that
Deer don't read them anyway. So,
sounds good.
all right.
Thank you. NIAC office, what's,
That's under, that's with Brenda.
oh, that's with Brenda, okay. Meetings attended. I was supposed to have a NICOG meeting yesterday. I inadvertently scheduled an appointment at the VA hospital yesterday morning, but it was supposed to be over by 9:30. I should have been able to be back at noon. Sunday morning, I had a flat tire on my pickup, so I put the spare on, so I have no spare. I thought about calling to whatever. I get up to Minneapolis yesterday morning on 52, and I blew another tire. And so here I sit with no spare, whatever, thinking the donut could work. Well, the donut was flat. Before it was said and done, I didn't get back. I was supposed to be in the VA office at a little after 7. I got there at 10 at the hospital, and so $125 later, I was able to get out of that.
Not a good day.
So it was, but they had one item on the agenda at NICOG, and we have an issue where one of our passengers was riding along in the van going down to Iowa City. Actually, they were coming back, and the passenger unbuckled her seatbelt so that she thought she could be more comfortable or whatever else. And about the same time, a fifth-wheel trailer hit our bus, rolled whatever, and of course she got injured. She's basically suing NICOG. And it was a matter of trying to come up with a settlement. And like I say, I wasn't there for whatever, so I have no idea what happened. But that's about all that right now what's happening at NICOG. County Conservation is not meeting this week. Adam Shirley is on vacation, so they're gonna hold their meeting next week, next Tuesday.
I didn't really have an official meeting, but I did spend awful lot of time on landfill matters, but about all I can say on that.
Clerk of Court report for July. We got $2,315.98. Fines were $18.17. So noted.
That almost covers the rent. Need bigger fines.
Bigger fines. Well, at least we get 90% of when our boys rate them. Instead of the 10%. Manure management plan update. Do we have any this
We got
week?
one from Jim Koenig's, the rotting in section 9 of Jenkins Township.
Okay, so noted. I did see that County Care had a thing in the packet here today. It looked like the 2012-2013 year. General government fees, was that money that we provided, Lowell, do you know? Or,
Yeah, because we gave them 50,000.
okay, that would be our share. So in other words, but they weren't that far off then of actually breaking even
And expenses, yeah.
in expenses without us, so that they would have been,
29,000, 29, 30,000 difference
yeah.
between the two.
So all in all, it really hasn't been too bad. Make a note of that in the minutes that, basically,
This is
they're pretty much self.
Sorry, right?
Hmm?
We need to approve that.
Yes, we need a
Yeah.
motion on that one,
Okay.
because that has to be published.
Okay, then make a motion to approve the Mitchell County Care Inventory Report financials.
Okay, I'll second that. Further discussion? Oaklander.
Aye.
Long time, motion carried. And we'll just wait for Brenda for a few minutes.
Jess Corson is
And
coming.
Jess comes, why?
Should be here any moment,
Okay,
for about 9:30.
all right. Well, we'll stand in recess then for a few minutes. Jessica, if you would like to address the board, come on up to the table.
So I've never been here before, so forgive me if I'm not
Well, if you're
going
doing
the way you're
anything,
used to, but.
if you're doing anything wrong, we'll sure tell you.
Okay.
We're not shy here.
All right, so I came to, I'm with, first of all, the Mitchell Park and Rec Committee, and we are a organization, a group of volunteers from the city of Mitchell, and we are working with the city council in Mitchell to build a park there. We met last Wednesday, last Wednesday, and passed a resolution to move forward with building a park. We agreed that the city would support us and that they would allow us the use of the city property where the tennis courts are now at and where the empty lot next to it is, that used to be the Eric's property. We asked them as well to maintain liability on the grounds during and after project completion. And they agreed. So we are in the process of fundraising. We have completed a fundraising project at the fair where we sold ice cream through the Mitchell County Dairy Trailer. And we raised $1,038 just in the 2 days we were there. We've also have fundraising efforts through the Can Redemption Center. They've agreed to give us 5 cents per can donated to our project. And so as of last week, in 1 week's time, we made $140 that way. We also have some cash donations through donation buckets and through personal cash donation. We've also raised $26,000 in materials, service, and labor donation, and also $10,000 roughly for items donated to our live auction that we'll be having on September 20th. We have a fundraising event at the Mitchell Dam Bar, and we'll be serving food for donation and have a live auction and a DJ. So we've worked really hard to get where we're at, and so now we're drumming up as much support as we can get, which brings me here. So we are asking if the county supervisors would be willing to offer a donation to our cause. And
Why don't you show real briefly what you're proposing for park equipment and our playground equipment?
sure. So I'll show you the big picture, the beautiful picture. This is the playground equipment here.
I'm gonna, yeah, hold it here and I'll zoom in. Okay. That's nice.
a large structure that we have here, specifically designed for us. It's 2 levels. It has a lot of tactile play to it, and I think the portion that we're most proud of is this right here, and it's called a spinning cocoon, or cozy cocoon, I'm sorry. And this is geared toward autistic children. Of course, can be enjoyed by all. But really what happens when autistic children get on the playground is a lot of sensory stimulation and tends to be overstimulation, and they need a place to go to kind of escape all of that. And so this right here was designed by the playground equipment company specifically for that reason. So we really wanted to include that in our structure. We started originally with it being a $40,000 structure, and we whittled away until we got to a place where we agreed that it was cost suitable for our plan, but also not lacking the characteristics that we wanted in it. So,
No swings?
what's that?
No swings?
There are swings. This is the first portion, and on my other one I'll show you that we do have swings. But basically the site prep, which costs just a little over $2,000, we would take that empty lot and clear out the concrete, the tree that's there, dispose of it all, and put retaining walls in. So there would be 2 levels. And in the back level would be our large piece of equipment. And in this front part is where our standalone pieces are. Next to that would be our swings. So we do have, again with the swings, we wanted, specific equipment on it. There's 2 regular swings and then 2 top seats as well. So we wanted to focus our park for a broad range of age of children to be able to cover all of the kids at Mitchell's. So we also have, well, it was on the other picture, but a spring rider that makes train noises. So not only visually, but tactile and sound sensory to make this a full sensory park. So we are pretty excited about it. So
Approximately how many kids are in Mitchell right now?
well, 13, I guess, of the ones that I know of. I know that there are more. We just don't have an accurate census on that.
Yeah, just approximately.
Yeah, and the goal really is to get more. We are noticing as a city that there really have not been a lot of kids there, and we want more to come there. We want more young couples, we want more kids, we want our town to grow. That is a goal that our committee holds in common. And so we feel that by putting a park there, that will be very attractive to other couples looking for a cost-effective place to live and a very welcoming community for their age group and social status. So,
Because I've heard this spiel a number of times, one of the things that keep in mind, the county does have a park there in Mitchell, but it is by the water for 4, 5, 6-year-olds, and that it's not a place that you want to send your kids down to. It's really out of the way. I mean, if there's no campers down there that day, there's really nobody to watch over them. Like I say, they're
and if there are
it's not
campers, it's pretty overrun. So that's a major concern for us as parents to
And what I
send our
see,
kids,
what I see happening in all these towns, it doesn't matter if it's Carpenter, Totterville, New Haven, and that. For a lot of people, your starter houses for a young family is in these type of towns, and so you're going to see more younger people again per capita in the Carpenters, in the Mitchells, as opposed to a higher end, real estate value, you know. And so,
Well, there's nothing to say that the people who camp at the interstate park
Wouldn't
wouldn't
come to
have
that
children
place.
that would come up here and wanna use these.
Absolutely.
Right.
You know, I mean, that's, you know, not everybody wants to sit on the dock and fish.
Right, right.
well, and the
Yeah.
playground equipment down there is basically, I think, just a couple of swings and what, matter of fact, they should have been oiled. We used to have church services down there on Sunday morning, and squeak, squeak, squeak.
Well, as you bring that up, part of our project is within our budget, we have $2,000 designated to go into a fund specifically for the maintenance of our park. So when we get the park up and running, one of the concerns is that, you know, if you spend all this money, then what's going to happen to it? Does it sit there and turn into really what it is now? Which is pretty rundown, and nobody wants to see that. So we did that. The other concern was that, you know, okay, so then we pay somebody or we do this maintenance out of this $2,000, and then the fund dries up. So then where does the money come from? So our committee agreed that we would continue to hold annual fundraisers, and that money would be put back in towards the beautification of Mitchell. So not only would we end up with the park out of this, but Mitchell would benefit in multiple ways. Our first portion of the project is to fix up the basketball courts, and that is a complete overhaul. And it's technically going to be a multi-sport court because we specifically chose a net that can raise up to play volleyball, lower down to play tennis, and completely remove if we wanted to have events there. The hoops also adjust up and down, again, for multiple age and height ranges. So that specific portion of our project costs $15,280. And the site prep costs $2,280 after donations. The site prep after the original estimates was going to be $20,297, and after haggling and negotiating and donations, we whittled it down to $2,280. There isn't much wiggle room on the multi-sport court, other than we save a lot on labor, and by recycling, reusing the good portions of the fencing that are there, which doesn't add up to be much, but trying not to be wasteful with our money. So our goal is to apply for grants. The first grant coming due that we will apply for is the Worth County grant on September 1st. And we need to have 25% of our project cost in the bank before then. And we have, like I said, we have started on our way. We've got roughly $1,282 raised in cash with just our one fundraiser and through the can donation. We need to raise yet $3,107.28, and that will give us our 25% in the bank for the Worth County grant. So, as by way of immediate need, we are petitioning for support and really hitting it hard, trying to get that amount in the bank so that we can really qualify for that grant. And we feel that grant will get the ball rolling and encourage other grantors to also invest in our project. So.
Well, since I've been kind of involved with helping Jessica on this, and scooped ice cream for $12 and so on and so forth, I think it would be appropriate if you want to.
So basically, you're asking for the $3,000 to get you there, or?
I'm asking for a contribution. I don't know what to ask for in terms of what you feel is appropriate, but
You have to have this by when? Before?
well, technically, I think we need to turn it in by the 28th of August. So we would have to be able to show through our bank records, the cash in the bank, so,
What's the city going to put
the
up any
city,
cash,
agreed that they would,
or just get land?
well, they provided, the land and originally felt like that was their contribution. And being as this process is new to all of us, and the granting process especially, they were very reluctant to understand where we're coming from, that originally it was felt that if we're gonna do this project, then we should be raising all the money on our own, and they're gonna give us the land, and that was the contribution. And we really worked very hard to educate them that, you know, specific grants require different things, that there are parameters for each one, and certain grants do not require matching funds, certain grants do. And that this one in particular, the Worth County that we are going after, is a matching grant. And through much deliberation, we agreed that the city would provide $3,200 if we would obtain 51% of public vote. So now our committee is door knocking on every single door in Mitchell to ask if they would sign a petition agreeing to spend taxpayers' money on this project. The original amount found, it was originally thought that there was no money in the budget to contribute towards this project, that Mitchell just did not have enough revenue or income in the bank to do such a thing. We found after asking and digging that there are two CDs, a $6,000 CD and a $5,000 CD that had not been touched and in fact forgot about for 13 years until we asked them to dig into it. So we asked for a portion of that money, and they will lose out on roughly $160 in interest by pulling that CD out. We would get, if pending the 51% of public approval, the $3,200, they would then keep the rest of that and either reinvest it or use it in their active budget. And of course now they know that there's another additional CD out there that they can use if they need it. So we are door knocking and having good luck so far, but of course it's a process that is not guaranteed. So that is why we are working hard towards that 25% in the bank and asking for donations at this point still, so.
So, what are you thinking? I mean, Mitchell doesn't come to us and ask for any, for,
They don't have a community event or.
right,
or
and so we have not probably given them anything over the years that we've been doing other community events. So, you know, we do have some hotel, motel, tourism type of thing, and that would fit with that.
Well, the thing that I see, the major thing that I see is that there really is no place in the city of Mitchell for kids. I mean, basically the street is their playground.
No, I think this is a very good project, and it's,
So,
I'm trying to come up with a number here, Stan.
yes, I understand.
Well, if you give them 500 for carpenter,
Right, but we
because
haven't.
you don't have this in your budget.
No, I know we don't. We don't have a lot
And
of
right
things always in
now,
our
right
budgets.
now, our general fund is not very healthy
Right.
until we start seeing taxes in another month.
But you're not needing the cash right at the moment. You're just needing the commitment. Or you have to
Well, I
have
thought
it
you
in
said
there.
you
We would
money
need
in
the cash
in the
by the
bank.
28th, money in the bank by the 28th. If you wanted to commit more at a later date, then I certainly would not turn that down, but
Maybe you wanna wait a week and table any action.
we could do that. In the meantime, the other thing that I look at, and this happened to be brought up a few months ago by somebody that was possibly interested in doing some investment. And this individual was thinking a bit about building a few houses and doing some specking. And the individual was thinking of a rural subdivision. And looking over what is required in a rural subdivision, basically, you know, you have to do the plotting, you have to do the streets, you have to do the infrastructure, so on and so forth, and it really doesn't pencil. But you go to Mitchell, there's quite a few empty lots. The streets are paved, they do have natural gas, and so on and so forth. And being 5 miles away from Osage, and again, knowing what has happened at St. Ansgar with Tim doing slab houses, I mean, really nice houses that, because the lots were reasonably priced in that you could do a new house for two-stall garage, 1,800 square feet, and that for around $150,000, $160,000. I think that Mitchell actually does have some potential for growth, and it's a matter of who wants to promote it, who wants to whatever, but that makes a lot more sense to me than some of the others.
So, here, table this till next week, we can figure out how much money we can put for it.
We could do that, and maybe,
We'll look into that. I mean, tell me that, I'll take money, that the last time we had $1,600 or something like that. I mean,
Should be getting some again here pretty soon, because the quarter's over.
right, so, no, I think you've got a great
And-
project, and
and maybe we could do something right now with another
Right,
equal amount coming up next April after
sure.
after taxes come in again.
Good.
But we will probably do something for you, so
Okay.
we'll put it on the agenda, and thank you kindly. Appreciate
Great
that.
presentation.
Thank you very much.
I'll tell you, she has really worked hard on this
I
thing.
can see that.
And I'm very disappointed to some extent that the city council hasn't tried. I mean, when you have somebody so ambitious, why wouldn't you want to try to really make things operate? Because this is a good project. I mean, it's,
There are other funding sources in the county.
She knows. She's found me.
All right, well, good.
Thank you guys.
bet.
Yeah, thank you.
Get your stuff.
Executive Economic Developer Brenda Dreyer, you're up. Or do you?
No, I'll catch up with her later. So
Okay.
I would echo Stan's sentiment. You know, Mitchell is not an active member of our economic development group, so that's somewhat limited the participation and support I can provide for that project. But I agree, and I literally have been thinking about, well, when she gets that playground built, where else can we use her energy to the benefit of Mitchell County? And so I will follow up with her, because I do wonder if a letter of support from the supervisors, you know, would also work instead of some cash in the bank with Wood County. I mean, obviously, it's, that would be a strong support for that project. So I'll follow up with her on that. Jessica's here. I think Joel and Stan and Lowell have all met Jessica. Jim, have you met Jessica?
By
Jessica's
email.
new to our office and has been with us, trained a lot of July, and now is on the ground running. And so I thought, tag along. I know that you've met folks, but just to see a little bit about how our Board of Supervisors meetings work. But I'm here to officially, I know Joel has seen this, not in necessarily final form. Jessica, you want to give one too. Penny may want one too. This is our recap of fiscal year 2013, and it lays out our plan of work. I'll take one too, Jessica. It lays out our plan of work for the coming year. And so, you know, when you sit down and the board sat down and looked at really what we've accomplished in the past year, we're very excited about the activity. when it's all said and done, it's pretty well balanced across the county. So Stacyville had a large economic development project, obviously. The new pharmaceutical company here in Osage, the Valent activity, the spec building sale up in St. Ansgar. When you look at it, it really was fairly well balanced in terms of what went on. So this recaps where we're at with things in terms of the other interesting number. If you look under housing, under accomplishments, we had a number of houses sold under that flood program. We have 13 still available with 4 buyers. Again, when other counties are not seeing the housing activity, we continue to see some nice housing growth. So you can read through this, you can note the accomplishments, but the green headings are really where we're at with the current year activity and where we're going to be focusing our efforts during that. The backside lists the contributors, and I had an interesting conversation last Monday night while I was at the Capitol with Bill Menner from USDA. He chairs USDA, and he's again applauding Mitchell County with all the activity we have going on. And I really do say, Bill had my job in Poweshiek County, and I said, well, we couldn't do what we do without the support of the supervisors. While we appreciate the community support, the banking support, and utility support, our efforts work because of the strong contribution and strong partnership we have with our supervisors. And so when I shared the contribution amounts, and how much it's really grown over the last 10 years, he applauded you as well. Hopefully you all feel that we're reaping a great deal of benefits across the county with your strong support. So that's, for the most part, every bank continues to contribute, every utility, and like I said, last year was unique because we added the community of McIntyre, and who knows, maybe someday Mitchell will join us as well, but, so it's been fun to spend some time up in McIntyre and work with them, and hoping here in the months to come we'll have a plan to come present to you with some of their initiatives. On the backside too, we administer 3 boards out of our offices, and most importantly our economic development board. So you see the current members of that. I think we have a full slate of board members now. Betty Borchert from Riceville joined us, and she'll be a great addition to our board. I've worked with her on boards before. Joel just can't seem to get rid of the chairmanship there either, but he does a great job, and I think he would attest, part of it is that is a great volunteer board, very engaged, and I'm always amazed how they put aside their zip code for our meetings, and they care a great deal about good things happening. The foundation board, we're in the midst of a funding cycle there, and we anticipate, just an FYI, making those awards November 7th. So a little later than we've done in the past, because we're trying to encourage collaboration. And then the enterprise zone, which again, Stan and Joel both sit on, not in a supervisory capacity, but wearing some other hats on that board. So we're excited, but like I said, Jessica was on the job maybe 1 week and came up with my nice new flyer. So we're anxious to get our website updated. We have a record number of jobs, so we've got to do some reconfiguring of the job portal on our website to make sure it's a little easier for people to find jobs if they're looking here. And what other questions can I answer for you? I got one other thing I just want to talk about, but
I guess the only thing that comes to mind, I mean, like you say, there's a number of good paying jobs here in the county, and yet again, it seems like some of these take weeks to get filled. Our unemployment rate is around 4%, and I realize that basically is full employment, because there's probably 4% of these people that really aren't qualified to do hardly anything, and so not trying to be unkind to some of these, but I mean that's the way it operates. And I guess that's the one thing that maybe we still have to try to do, is become more creative. How do we get the word out to other areas that we have these And this is a good place to relocate, we got the jobs, it's a good
Well,
place to
and
relocate.
I guess, and our board has done some outreach of ads to southern Minnesota. I do think what we're gonna need to do, yes, we have a record number of jobs, but there is a big lash of Valent jobs coming, the fermentation labor positions. There is half of the jobs sit in that particular job classification. And so those are the ones that I'm kind of waiting for that group, because then that's going to escalate our job number. And those still require a degree of some sort. And I do think at that point in time, when we have a large number, we're gonna have to do some advertising.
Is that in chemistry or biology?
No,
or
no,
just,
no, these would be jobs that you aren't gonna probably need a 4-year degree, but certainly some sort of technical degree, a bachelor's, no. We have a strategy on the chemical and process engineers. I worked with President Lake's office last week too, to try to glean some exposure on the chemists and the chemical engineers and the process engineers we need yet. Hopefully getting into specifically those departments at Iowa State, to try to get access. And what I'd like to do is ultimately work with Valent to maybe host a tailgate, because I figure if they'll come to a tailgate, they'll consider relocation to be that much closer to the stadium, because they have had troubles where spouses don't want to move from some of the larger metro areas. They need experience. They can't take an engineer right out of college. It needs to be an experienced chemical and process engineer. So we've got a bit of a strategy there, but really I do believe we're going to have to run some advertising once the fermentation labor block. They look to start hiring that. And I haven't got a firm timeline on that yet. Certainly maybe the end of the year, early next year on that group. That's about 40 jobs that'll sit with that classification. So we're gonna need to drum some activity and then worry about everybody else that's growing as well. I mean, the BBC is causing lots of activity at A to Z. So that's the way it should work, and luckily we've got other industries that are busy too and wanting to hire. So we're having a regional jobs portal that's supposed to be launched. I need to find out more about that as well. So appreciate that. Appreciate it. Joel and I know we just need to talk and get some
Well,
of our
that's-
resources freed up.
And that's where the multiplier effect again comes in, that I think so often that we fail to really consider when we do anything. I mean, we understand it's there, we don't necessarily ever really put, the other thing, at some point in time,
He didn't warn me he was gonna have all this stuff.
I don't know.
Didn't I talk to you yesterday?
Today's just a nice day to visit. I mean, I can't help it.
Okay,
But you know,
I'm in the hot seat.
no, but at some point in time, to me, even working on some of this, I don't know, maybe spec housing type of thing for, that would be where we could then use some TIF dollars. I mean, we're gonna, the roads are starting to get paid off. I mean, you know, that money's coming back in that, and another couple of years, these could be projects that, you know, if you have affordable lots, people will build the house. And I think that's really what we've seen in St. Ansgar was the key. 150,000 is kind of their threshold on a lot of these people, but they can afford up to 150. Well, if you have a $50,000 lot, you really get no house, so nothing happens. You have that $5,000, $8,000 lot, and you have a $142,000 house. They're
And I
willing to pull the
think-
trigger.
I do think there's also some good plan out there with the down payment assistance program too. I mean, people just, because of, for whatever reason, don't have enough to leverage a strong down payment too. So I think if we had our own program that was less restrictive on some things and more available to anywhere in the county, and have some teeth and clawbacks if we don't work with our banking community to ensure that if they left before a 5-year period, that we were able to recapture part of that when the house sold or something. Those are, I agree that we have to continue to also be focused on housing. But I think we have a down payment if we could help with down payment, I think that would help encourage some things as well as.
Yeah, I think in the next 2 years, we really gotta, as a county board of supervisors, we should be trying to take a look at how can we.
Creative ways, yeah, no, I think.
Because again, if they're paying property tax and they're supporting our main streets, our businesses and so on and so forth with the multiplier effect, blah, 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 blah.
Population
In the
is
long-
everything too, in terms of our numbers and how we
In the
generate
long term,
funds.
again, a lot of the things that we've been doing is not gonna necessarily benefit us short term, but 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the line, this is gonna be one of the best counties in the whole North Iowa, southern Minnesota area because of the groundwork we're laying.
Anything you wanna add before he
Well,
jumps
I'm
in and
just
adds
thinking
to my
about-
to-do list?
Just always be thinking about another, how do we provide jobs for the spouses that wanna come to work for Valent?
That
And the
is
type
a
of
big-
jobs that they're probably trained to do, I mean.
I agree, and that is, if we had I've been pushing across the region, as I said, if we had a trailing spouse program for the whole region, I do believe if we could figure that out, because I think, sometimes we try to do it informally. If I know that somebody's got a unique background, I shoot it out to the rest of the regional partners, but I think we have to constantly be saying, we gotta almost find jobs for 2 people if they're gonna relocate here, because it's too hard to
If we
live
got
on one salary.
Fine hospital. you know.
And that's what I said, usually, the medical people, we can usually find a home for at Mayo or at Mercy.
Well, if they've got this degree in biotech, you'd think, you know, maybe they would've looked around during class and saw
That,
somebody.
and that, there's a lot to be said for that. Well, and that's why we talk about clustering.
Yeah.
And that's where I also think our job recruiting people would be easier if we had another bioscience technical company in our mix, because that would give them 2 employers. So know that clustering concept, you know, like manufacturers by each other, does seem to have some synergy in terms of attracting vendors, attracting a workforce, so know that plays out.
Has Cambrooks.
Yeah, that's what I said is, we've, to the south, that has helped, that there is the clustering of Fort Dodge and Kaiser and whatever else, so.
Hopefully.
Yeah, so, can I leave now before anything else is on my
Yeah.
list?
NIAC office.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for acting on approving Krista to go into our offices. What we found, Mark and I are both out of the office a great deal, and it's worked really well to have the 2 of us there. Krista's working Monday through Thursday, 8 to 4, and,
Jessica?
what?
Jessica.
Jessica, I'm sorry.
That's what I was a
This
little
is my
confused there.
problem, that's why you got them both in the same office.
What's
Well,
this?
just say
What was the hours?
Monday through Thursday, 8 to 4.
Okay.
And so for the most part, you know, she's there, and it really is, without a neighbor across the street, it's a very, you know, worrying about people coming in, those sorts of things. So if we have to be gone, or it seems as if building this model where we have a nonprofit doing good in Mitchell County, if we could make some homes and utilize some of the space, it helps covering for everybody. So it's a natural backup for us, because Krista has good experience in our office, and because she was doing mentoring work there when she was working for us, I kind of knew it wouldn't get in the way, and so seemed like a good use of the resource of that building to be able to bring that in. NIAC has somebody in our county 2 or 3 hours a week, and I guess there is no room in the Osage Library. So I don't know what the situation is there. NIAC, whether you know it or not, is a great partner in economic development. They turn on a dime when I need training dollars. They react when our industries have issues. They hold office hours in our offices with small business. And I don't want to appear that we're not trying to keep them around. And so we have a little spot where I think we could put them in our office, set up a desk. They're going to be there 2 or 3 hours a week. And if you're fine with that, I'll ask that they provide proof of insurance, any extra things that they would require with phone line. And I, of course, disclaimed, you know, our future as all of us being in that building is uncertain, but in order to continue the NIAC presence, whether it be continuing ed in the library space or offers hours to me, I don't want to burn a bridge with NIAC because we, you know, we're telling them we don't have space. So it works for us. Jessica and I both showed them spotted. I think we're good. They want one little cupboard and they want to set up a desk. So I thought, it's not like they're profiting by.
Well, I think
doing
that's
this, so.
great if we can help them out.
Keep them
Yeah.
here. Yeah,
Right.
So. We should
Well,
really-
even to begin with, when we get our new courthouse, I mean, we do have an IT office that right now would not be utilized in that, and so, I mean, again, there'd be some things I think that we could do
Yeah.
with,
So again, I'm just saying, you know, to me, it just seems silly that everybody was losing a lot of sleep that they not have a space, and I'm thinking, well, it set you up over there the little that you're here, and they are great partners of ours, and I don't wanna burn any bridges. So I'll continue to work through that, and I'll just ask Krista what she needed to provide, so we've got record, but, they'll be glad, I think, that they don't have to worry about this anymore,
Good.
so. That's that, unless you have anything else for me?
That's-
no,
Any questions from the crowd or anything? Okay.
What's the scoop on this fertilizer plant in Illinois?
You know, other than to say we're continuing discussions, I'll leave it at that. So,
Did it happen? Did the
No.
Illinois
not yet.
legislature vote? Okay.
They did,
Okay.
yeah. Yep, it's, I remind people all the time, and again, I'm not talking to the media, and I'm not really talking a whole lot about the project, but the Valent project was 3 years start to finish, and that was a pretty aggressive timeline with a project that size. I think their timelines are a little unrealistic with as many decisions that have to be made to construct a facility and that particular size of investment, so we
Well-
continue to do our part, so.
Well, Brenda, I think the question that he asked, and it's something that's been in the paper, so I mean, it's common knowledge. Really what Illinois done was when they offered the $31 million a year that.
It wasn't a year, it was a one-time.
Or one time, it was basically catching up to what Iowa is already doing. And so, I mean, when, it looks like, gee whiz, Iowa hasn't done anything, Illinois is offering this money.
Right.
Well, no, Iowa already, it was in the law or that.
We didn't require any law changes.
Yeah, and so they were just catching up to Iowa, so, I mean, instead of it looking like they're offering something that we aren't.
That's
And
the
it's
way,
the other-
it has not appeared that way any place that I've read
Right,
anything.
and I think that's what you were alluding
Yeah.
to, and that's the only
Yeah.
reason I wanted to.
It's just a matter of trying to even the playing field with what would be a standard incentive project. Standard incentives from the state of Iowa for a project of that.
Yeah,
size.
well, I've not heard boo from the supervisors, not heard boo from the state, and you would think if the state of Illinois is going to contribute 31 million or billion or whatever, why isn't something happening in Iowa? And obviously, you're telling me that it already has happened.
Yeah, it just doesn't require any legislative action, so, yeah, it's,
It just appeared to be a bigger deal in Illinois because they had to change laws.
yeah, they did too.
So it looked like they were trying to one-up Iowa. They were just trying to
Yeah.
catch up with
Yeah.
Iowa because their laws didn't allow what Iowa already does allow. So it made it look like it was a huge deal, and it wasn't
It really is.
that big of a deal.
Okay, yeah.
I have a question. What would be the water usage of that fertilizer plant, and is there a capacity?
We don't talk about the project details, so, no.
I mean, I read about that in the paper in Illinois, and they were talking about, I don't know, reusing water maybe from a
And-
waste
and
treatment
that's what
plant
it
for their
says, you know,
facility.
You'll have to, read from that, but we don't talk about how a project here would look at this stage yet.
I mean, I just have a concern how it would impact our water supply if they were pumping it out of the groundwater.
Yep, so, none of those details have been disclosed yet, so. But we're still in negotiation, and so until which time we move to kind of the next level, we won't be discussing any of that.
And you expect that next level to occur?
Like I said, I think their timeline is very aggressive, and I don't know that there's lots of things yet to be discussed, so.
A lot of time.
Yeah, that's what I would suspect. Just my experience has been a project of this size, there's lots of things that need to be worked through, and so.
Well,
it's
they
not
better
as
be
easy.
worked through.
Yeah, a lot on their end, yes.
Yeah.
Yep, so,
And the reason the supervisors don't say anything, we know nothing.
yeah. Yeah, that is absolutely the case, so,
Okay.
yep.
Sometimes ignorance is bliss.
Yep, nope, and I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't have prospects, so I always have prospects and projects that we're working on, and some proceed through and some don't, and so we'll, some point in time, if it looks like we're moving this along, obviously, because there'll be some state incentives, and those need to be ran through a public entity, so at that time, we'll be able to discuss, or if we're lucky enough to get to that stage.
Yeah, well, I realize Valent just did not appear, but it sort of
Yeah.
automatically appeared. When it happened, it appeared.
Right now,
Yeah. Yeah, it was 3 years, start to finish, so. Ask Joel,
I'll never forget.
I had that thing coded and he just didn't know,
So I
so.
didn't know, but when it was about time for it to make the announcement, oh, we knew the money was probably gonna come out of Japan. Well, lo and behold, there was this big Fukushima earthquake and tsunami over there, and I thought, oh boy, there goes the money and there goes the project, but
Yeah,
Mm.
didn't happen at all.
so-
It all came to fruition anyway, so.
so.
and
That's part of the reason why
just-
we're very successful is that we try to be as discreet and.
And industry looks so much different than it did 60 or 70 years ago, you know, you don't see the big smokestacks and the stuff like that, they're just kinda neat little boxes and.
So we'll have to wait and see, but I do anticipate it'll be a while yet, so. Lots
Well, thank you
to do.
kindly,
Yeah, you
appreciate
bet.
it, and keep us in the loop as much as you can.
Yeah, thanks.
There's always 3 balls in the air.
Yeah, so, yeah, lots of stuff, we should be thrilled for activity.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
activity breeds activity, that's part of how this works as well, so.
Well, I've always said, I mean, I don't care what it is in the county, economic development is the key. I mean, if it's your main street, if it's your schools, if it's whatever else, lower property taxes, I mean, it's all the key. And some of this is short-term, but a lot of it is long-term, and trying to explain why we're able to do like TIF dollars again this morning with the Stony Creek Coffee Club. I mean, they have a hard time putting a handle on TIF and why long-term it should be beneficial. And like I said to them, I mean, I may not be around to see the benefit, but yet again, you have to plant the oak tree in order to get lumber. And so somebody is gonna benefit.
It's constantly filling the pipeline in the future,
Yeah.
things too as well.
And so that's part of what we have to do here as supervisors is look at long-term goals, not just short-term. And I think this is why most counties just kind of sit there and
Yep.
they're short-term, they're not long-term thinkers. I'm not trying to be unkind to them, but.
So good, well, thank you,
Well,
gentlemen.
thank you.
We'll
Brenda.
be in touch, thank you.
I have one other item that I
Okay.
kind of forgot about, that, last Saturday night, we had our outdoor church service up there at St. John's, and they had 2 speakers from Crisis Intervention. And at some point in time here, I think one of the gals will come, I don't believe we give anything, do we, to Crisis
I
Intervention?
think we do.
Do we?
I've seen that.
Well, let's take a look at it anyway and see what we do, because they were explaining, I guess this last year, we had 147 cases here in Mitchell County where there was abuse. It's not all just women being abused neither.
Because there's an office in the county services building for
Right.
that.
Right.
It seems like $3,000.
I don't think it's that much.
I know we're giving them some space, which is good. I mean, they were happy for the space, but
I know we
Uh,
upped it one time too, it seems like.
but it's basically all kind of grants and that again, and like I say, and like they were explaining that a lot of people that should be asking for some help and this and that, not necessarily financial help, but even just help on you know, I'm in an abusive situation, how do I go about getting out of this? How do I go about protecting, you know, a lot of them are just unwilling to try to approach anybody and so on and so forth. And so, I mean, we got our share of problems here, and I think we ought to, again, we can keep people out of the Crowbar Hotel if we work on this other end, so just something to,
7 we had in there today?
yeah. Seems like after we were concerned that the numbers were down.
We can safely do what, 11 or 12, right?
We can do 12 supposedly with one jailer, safely.
That's the maximum.
Uh,
That's the limit.
I mean, we were doing 18 for a while with one jailer, and that's when Kurt said, well, no, it isn't, but I guess that's all a matter of,
I hope we never get to that point. but-
no. Well, tomorrow night, I don't know if anybody, apparently Winnebago County wants to talk about, you know, they want to build a new jail. And so I've been invited to go over there and ask about our facility and what I saw as pluses, minuses, what I,
All right, don't overbill, for one thing.
well, and really Worth County had the right idea. The dispatcher is also the jailer, to where you don't need all of this extra. I mean,
Right, set your room up so that they can keep an eye on what's going on in front of them.
yep,
At the same time, watch the monitors.
yep.
Right.
So if you need a jailer, maybe just during the day, 10 hours a day or whatever the case may be, you know, that you could have a shift and a half, or, you know.
Actually, Worth County could use a bigger jail, because when we toured that, it was pretty tight through there.
Yeah,
I mean,
well, they get a lot of people off of the interstate. I mean, that, you know, they have more deputies than we do, but that's part of the reason between the casino and the interstate.
well, they probably need them,
Yep,
you know.
so,
It's kind of backwater here, we don't take anything too quick.
what was that, Andy?
Otis County lets itself in. No,
Well-
we do good here, I think. We're lucky to have the county we do, I guess.
All in all, yeah. We'll stand recessed. Let's try to be out to county care, what, 10:45? Is that pushing it, or?
Works for me, I guess.
Okay, we'll stand recessed, and thank you all again.